sports.
We are Blackboard. We are Sports Zone.
On a chilly Thursday night, Julio Teheran towed the slab and dealt an 8-strikeout night. But in a tie game late, Freddie Gonzalez sniffed out a sticky situation. And after a tacky Milwaukee response, the Braves teed off on the Brew Crew bullpen with a 7-run seventh. Tonight, Eric Stoltz pinch hits for Alex Wood in Game 2. It's the Braves and the Brew Crew from Turner Field next. Well, as I've said at Turner Field for many years, you can't beat fun at the old ballpark. Certainly had some fun last night. A crazy game. Game 1 of the series went the Braves' way. 10-1 the final score. Tonight, it's Game 2 with the Brew Crew here in town. Hi again, friends. Chip and Joe, welcome back to the ballpark. We've reached the 40-game mark, roughly a quarter of the way through the season. Time to look back at 2014 and to 2015 and see what's different between these two ball clubs.
Let's make some comparisons. The Braves have climbed back to 500. They're 20-20 through their first 40 games, and only 2 games separate them from their record of a year ago. But look at the offensive numbers. Higher batting average, more runs per game, more than 100 fewer strikeouts. The difference right now, starters and relievers, ERA is up by a pretty good jump. A lot more little things going right, more sacrifices, more sacrifice flies. The Braves offensively are doing a whole lot more, I believe, than people expected.
Yeah, just by playing the game the right way, they're 500. Just think what the Braves can do if they get good starting pitching. We hope to have that happen tonight. Eric Stoltz gets the ball for a sickened Alex Wood. We'll explain more when we come back with lineups and first pitch here at the ballpark.
Right stuff, low price, every day.
Beautiful night in Atlanta. It was breezy about an hour ago. The wind has all but died as Eric Stoltz takes the mound for the Braves, filling in for Alex Wood, who came down with the flu bug last night. Stoltz will face the Milwaukee Brewers. Craig Counsell's Academy Sports and Outdoors lineup features Gomez, Chris Davis, Ryan Braun, 1 through 3. Aramis Ramirez, their cleanup man. Martin Maldonado is behind the plate. Peralta, the pitcher, hits 8th, and we saw Luis Sardinas play shortstop. He's the number 9 man.
And Eric Stoltz out there in a backup role for Alex Wood tonight, making his 8th start of the year. His first time through the lineup has been pretty much a breeze for him. A .224 average and a homer allowed, but after that it gets kind of ugly for him in those middle innings. Another thing that to consider is that in his first 45 pitches, a .236 average against him, 2 homers, 4 pitches 46 through 105. Turns his game around. Not as good.
.77 degrees. Virtually no wind at first pitch as Stoltz misses downstairs to Carlos Gomez. Brewers center fielder, 4 homers, 17 knocked in. It's been a while for Eric on the mound. Last start May 13th. And that right off the left foot. And a foul ball for a 2-ball, 1-strike count.
Time for the Ford keys to pitching success tonight for Eric Stoltz. As you mentioned, not since May 13th has he been out there. Tonight, is he going to be rusty, or does he consider this a mulligan? You know, kind of get back on the right track of things. And only 15-7. In his first 7 starts, there have only been 15 runs in support scored for him. So he could use a few runs to work with tonight, too. Hopefully some early.
Braves got a first inning run last night, had a tie game through 6, and then the circus act began in the 7th. And that's where the Braves broke it open, winning 10-1 over Milwaukee. And a full count pitch coming to Carlos Gomez, and this one's popped beyond the Braves dugout, foul and into the seats. Nice crowd here on a pretty night. Fireworks, as always, a very popular promotion here at the ballpark. And fans in town for the Memorial Day weekend, high school graduation, got the Hawks game tonight. So big sports weekend and family weekend here in Atlanta. Hope you'll enjoy it with us. And a shot to the left side and headed for the seats. And Gomez putting up a big fight here in the first inning.
One of the things for Eric Stoltz that has not been a problem really has been bases on balls. He's only walked 8 in 40 innings. Oh, that rocked Bethancourt.
I don't know how they do it. Take a shot like that. So Christian will clear the cobwebs, and another payoff pitch is low, and Gomez walks to start the ball game. Mentioned last night how good the Braves have been defensively. They've really put together a nice stretch of solid defensive play. Cameron Maybin made a great catch and throw last night to save a potential run. Cunningham and Markakis flank him in the Atlanta outfield. Callaspo's back in there at third base. Simmons, Peterson, Freeman around the horn, and of course Christian Bethancourt, the catcher. Got to keep an eye on Gomez. He had a 30 stolen base year last season, and he's 5 for 8 in steals so far this year. And Chris Davis is the Milwaukee hitter. Davis has started 36 games now in the outfield for the Brew Crew. Strike.
It's about this time last year that he really took over and started playing every day for Milwaukee. 22 homers, 69 RBIs. Hit .244. But he went on a real homer binge in the second half.
No balls and a strike. Brewers have a neat stat in their media guide about Chris Davis. Since late July of 2013, July 23rd to be exact, that was the date of Chris Davis's first big league homer. He's tied with Hunter Pence in the National League home run race among outfielders. Only Giancarlo Stanton and Justin Upton had hit more than Chris Davis.
Well, he's been on a real rough stretch here. He's won for his last 16 that's seen his average drop below 230.
Strike caught the outside corner of ball and 2 strikes now. Chris Davis, a 7th round pick in 2009. "27 years old. The pitch missed away. It's 2-2.
Stoltz has not been in a ball game out of the bullpen since he was taken out of the rotation May 13th. He told me today he had thrown a couple of times on the side in the pen.
Little pop, long run, Markakis, and Nick's going to get there. Davis skies to right. There's the first out here in the top of the first. That's got to be a tough thing for Eric Stoltz. I think he's really a rhythm type pitcher. And when you don't pitch in 9 days, and because of Alex Wood's flu bug, you're thrust into the limelight here. You can understand your Ford Key rust being a concern.
He called it touch and feel, those outings, and for him on the side, just to get a feel for the ball coming out of his hand and trying to locate it. Might see Gomez going first pitch or two to Braun.
Who jumps at the first pitch and drives it toward right center field. Maben on the run, looks up, and it's gone. Ryan Braun does what he's been doing all year. It's an opposite field home run for the Brewers, and they've struck first in the first. It's 2-0 Milwaukee.
No win tonight. That didn't have any effect on that one at all. Like a high changeup.
Three career hits for Braun now against Eric Stoltz. 2 of them have left the ballpark. That's his 11th homer. He's got 31 RBIs and a sizzling 2-week stretch for the Brewers right fielder Ryan Braun. So 1-1 count for Aramis Ramirez. He's the Milwaukee third baseman. This one's popped into shallow right again. Markakis, long run. He'll get there. Nick's been busy. 2 long running catches on 2 pop outs. 2 down.
Yeah, and when you know that big first baseman's running down the line in the same direction you're running, you want to let him know as quickly as you can that you've got it.
Well, this should be a happy homecoming for the man in the batter's box, Jason Rogers. Born in East Point, Georgia, lives in Riverdale. Played ball at Columbus State University. Tied the school and Peach Belt Conference record for homers in a single season. He had 26 of them. Hits this ball hard to right, and in the sunshine goes Nick Markakis and makes the play, and that retires the side. A leadoff walk and a Ryan Braun homer puts Milwaukee in front by a pair in the top of the first. The top of the first, here come the Braves trying to get over 500. And Freddie Gonzalez's Academy Sports and Outdoors starting lineup features Peterson, Maben, and Freeman first, second, and third. Nick Markakis still looks for his first homer of the year. Todd Cunningham's in left, Callaspo at third, Simmons, Bethancourt, and Stultz against a man that's had very little luck on the mound for the Brewers, but he's been tough against the Braves.
Willie Peralta was a 17-game winner last year and their most valuable pitcher. This year you see the first 4 starts, those are all in April. Horrible luck there. A little better in May with a 3.60 ERA, but still a combined batting average, lefties and righties, so far this year of .310 and 8 homers allowed.
Well, he's got an early lead tonight, and his first to Jace Peterson is a sinker low, 1 ball, no strikes.
Throws hard, mid-90s fastball with a slider and a changeup. Out of the Dominican Republic, 6'1", 245.
Line to short. Peterson trying to go the other way, but he's the first out. So Peralta looks for a shutdown first inning. Brewers got him in 2005 as a non-drafted free agent. He's already had Tommy John surgery. That was in 2006, and he missed all of 2007. Cameron Maben's having a nice run, isn't he?
Sure is.
His average up to 255 and batting second in front of Freddie Freeman.
He's hit in 6 straight.
He had a pair of RBIs last night. I thought the best play of the game was his catch and throw to second to nail Gerardo Parra on what proved to be a sacrifice fly from Ryan Braun. A flinch, but no strike. 1-2 now. In the air to center. Gomez is going to catch it. And there's out number 2. Milwaukee's defense, as we told you last night, has not been good. 36 errors, including one from Hector Gomez last night. But Carlos Gomez in center, a terrific outfielder. See Davis play left for the first time in the series. You know about Braun. Rogers, the new first baseman. Maldonado behind the plate. And Freddie Freeman in the batter's box. And that one clipped him on the way by. So Freeman is hit with a 2-out pitch. Second hit batsman for Peralta.
Interesting.
Not sure that it got him. If it was the ultimate glancing blow on the way by.
Yeah, it just got part of the uniform, I think.
Markakis hits and drives one in the air towards center. Gomez can't get there. Plays it on a hop. Freeman's going to try for third. The throw is off target. And Braves have runners at first and third with 2 out.
Again, Nick Markakis with runners on, going after the first pitch and hitting it hard. And the Braves have him at first and third.
Let's see if Todd Cunningham can provide a 2-out hit. He's 9 for 19 overall this year, 9 for 16 from the left side of the plate. Braves are hitting .302 with runners in scoring position. Foul. It's 0-2. Here's how you end up 1-5. Some ugly numbers for Peralta with men on base.
Well, and how you wind up with a .310 batting average overall against you, and every category but one is in the 300s, especially this one.
And Cunningham didn't get it. He's down on strikes. Peralta hits a man, gives up a single, and strands a pair of Braves in the opening inning. Concert for all who attend. Limited VIP field passes are available for just $20. Act fast by visiting braves.com/concerts and get your seats today. Milwaukee leads by a pair as we head to the second inning, and Hector Gomez will lead off. Gomez made the opening day roster for the first time as a professional. He's been a very useful utility player for Milwaukee, playing second, third, and short. He's at second for Scooter Gennett, who's in the minor leagues. Another drive to right. Markakis to the warning track, reaches up and makes the play. All 4 outs have been hit to right field. One down.
Nick already tied a record last inning. He's on his way to recording the most outs in baseball history by one man if this keeps up.
Pride of Naguaba, Puerto Rico, Martin Maldonado is the hitter. With the injury to Jonathan Lucroy, Maldonado's been pressed into starting duty, and his offensive numbers not been that good. A 149 average, couple of homers, 7 knocked in. He's done good work as a backup catcher, but there's no mistaking the absence of Lucroy has really hurt Milwaukee. He's a terrific player, all-star. That's hammered down the left field line and out toward the Milwaukee bullpen.
They've got 3 guys that have really been scuffling. We talked about Davis. He's 1 for his last 17 now. Gomez just hit. He's 2 for 17. And Maldonado 1 for 28.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Brewer team hitting just .226 this year. They've now hit 43 home runs. Strike 3 at the knees. Maldonado with a look back. He didn't like that call, but he sure wants that for Peralta if he can get it. He's out number 2.
Sinker right there. I understand his disbelief, though. That was in a good spot.
And here's Willie Peralta. Brewers are batting the pitcher 8th. They like the idea of having 2 leadoff men batting 9th and 1st in hopes that somebody can be on for Gomez.
If the Braves took exception to Freddie Freeman getting hit by a pitch, we might see how much of an exception they took right here. Doesn't look like it was a big deal.
Yeah, you said it was an interesting sequence.
Yeah, he's arguably their best hitter. And if there was any carryover from last night, aggravation, irritation, upset by the Brewers for the Braves.
Well, if there is, I can't understand why, to be honest with you.
It would be ignorant on their part. And I don't think that was intentional.
Peralta's down on strikes. Stultz has a 1-2-3 second inning. 2-0 Milwaukee early in Atlanta.
Seems like there's always a lot of news going on around the Braves this season. Yet another transaction going down today as Adonis Garcia, who was just called up on May 18th, was sent back down to Gwinnett to make room for Ian Thomas, a left-handed reliever, to come back into the bullpen. Freddie Gonzalez saying before the game, just wanted to have a little bit of extra protection there in that bullpen, especially considering he's got a guy out there in Eric Stultz now who hasn't been a starter in a while, hasn't pitched in a few days, as you guys have talked about.
That's a good point, Jen. That was the value of having Eric Stultz, a guy that can swing, start, relief. But with Alex Wood sick tonight, Stultz pressed into duty. The only other lefty out there would have been Luis Avilan. So there are now 2 other lefties in the bullpen. As Stultz surrenders a 2-run homer to Ryan Braun to start the game, he looks for a little offense from Alberto Callaspo leading off the second inning. Callaspo was 1 for 4 last night. And he takes a strike over the inside corner.
Peralta's last start against the Mets, he got beat 5-1. 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks. Also struck out 5.
Got everything working so far, though.
That was a good pitch. Again, 17-11 with a 3.5 ERA last year.
And that's foul. Callaspo was still alive. 0-2.
Inside of that shin guard, had his leg turned out.
Fastball at 95 miles an hour, but it missed. 1-2 your count. To second. Gomez makes a good play this time. There's out number one. Andrelton Simmons the batter. Andrelton is 1 for 10 so far on the homestand. 3 homers, 17 knocked in.
And all that good work that he did when he was batting second behind Peterson has kind of gone away because he's 6 for his last 40. It's really eaten into his average.
That's down the left field line, but he couldn't keep it fair. Into the Brewer bullpen. Strike one. .96-mile-an-hour fastball. If you see a lot of fastballs from Peralta, you can understand it. He's got a good arm. But one of his buddies in the offseason is Bartolo Colon. Bounding ball toward Ramirez at third, and Ramos toss across in time, 2 out. Willie Peralta throws a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but plays slow pitch softball in the offseason with Bartolo Colon and Nelson Cruz.
I'll bet that is a fun slow pitch game to watch.
And I'll bet it's a lot of fun after, too.
Yeah.
2 outs for Christian Bethancourt. His best game of the year, I thought, came last night. 3 hits, 2 runs, an RBI. Did a great job with Julio Teheran, who also was terrific. Julio with 8 strikeouts in his 7 innings of work.
Freddie Gonzalez very complimentary to Christian last night after the game about his defense. Thought he called a good game. Thought he got on Julio a couple of times when he needed it. Or Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot.
He couldn't stop his swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And when you face Willie Peralta, at least from the Braves' perspective, you throw out his record. This man, lifetime, has made 3 starts against the Braves. He's given up 3 earned runs in almost 20 innings. And no swing. 2-2 the count. Interesting 24 hours for Rick Kranitz, the Brewers pitching coach. And now Peralta turns it loose. And a bounding ball. Ramirez has it. Hardly had to move. And Bethancourt's retired. And that retires the side. 9-1-2 coming up for the Brewers. They enjoy an early lead. Tomorrow evening, May 23rd, the Braves take on the Brewers. Stay after our 4 o'clock game for a free post-game movie on Braves Vision. The Sandlot will be the featured flick, and you can find out more online, braves.com/movie night.
Talked about Cameron Maben's good throw last night that helped save a run. Well, he's part of a very good outfield core right now. They've only made one error. That's tied for second fewest errors in the National League, compared with 7 errors by the outfield through this same number of games last year. Good work by the outer defense.
Nick Markakis riding a 366 game errorless streak. The all-time record is 392, set by Darren Lewis back in the early 1990s. So Luis Sardinas, the young shortstop, just 22 years old, former Texas Ranger. They acquired him for Giovanni Gallardo. He struck out twice last night, and he's behind 0-2 here in the third.
Yes,
and he did go around. That's 3 straight strikeouts for Eric Stoltz, and 1 away for Gomez.
Well, typically this is about where you would expect Eric to be. 3 strikeouts, retired 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. He just didn't expect that home run in the first, nor the walk, because he just didn't walk many guys.
Bounding ball to third. That's foul ball. Strike 1.
He's given up 9, now 10 homers, but usually they start coming in the middle innings.
Yeah, and I was going to say, that's if there was an issue for Stoltz, keeping the ball in the ballpark has been rough.
Yeah, and I started to say earlier, whether you'd only walked 8 guys, there's nothing wrong with his command except in the strike zone. He's had too much of the plate in many cases.
Oh, and 1 to Gomez, and that's a little low. 1 ball, 1 strike. This guy plays with, if he's on your team, a lot of passion. If he's not on your team, let's just say he plays with a lot of flair. That'll rub an opponent the wrong way a time or two. That's happened with the Braves. You might recall a couple of years ago, Gomez hit a home run against Atlanta, and Brian McCann got in his face at home plate, telling him not to exaggerate the joy of hitting a home run. And then in the early days last season, the opening series, he hit a home run, and I mean, he flew around the bases up at Miller Park. So he hadn't forgotten the
lesson.
Either that, or he was trying to prove a point.
Yeah,
or make a point.
Yeah, everybody you talk to on the Brewers ball club or in their organization, they love the guy. Another walk.
Both to Gomez, and now Chris Davis bats. Davis flying out to right fielder Nick Markakis, his first time up. As it stands now, it's going to be a long slog for Milwaukee. Brewers are 12.5 games out of first place. They're 12 games under 500. Another shot to right, long run Markakis. That ball tailing away from him and in the corner. He can't get there. Good try by Markakis, but too far to go. Strike 1. They've already replaced their manager. Ron Renicky was dismissed on May 4th. Craig Counsell's taken over. He's 8-9 in his first 17 games for the Brewers. And the inevitable question as we approach June and then July is, how many of these guys in uniform for Milwaukee now will be there after the July 31st deadline? There are some pieces that a lot of teams might be interested in. The guy at first would be one of them.
Now, the top of their order is pretty solid with Gomez, Davis, Braun, and Ramirez. Add Adam Linden there when he's at first base.
Got him picked off with a good throw. And Freddie Freeman got it there in time. And then I guess Gomez came off the bag.
Yep. What a play by Freddie. Holy smokes.
The left sleeve's another inch or two longer than the right after that super pick. And Gomez is the second out.
Well, you're taught to come get the ball. When you see the guy break, come get the throw, get to it quicker. And he kept the ball from actually going down the right field line, and then got it there quick enough to get Gomez, who slid off.
So that helps. And Davis now behind 0-2. And if you further this lineup, Joe, like you were talking, Gomez, Davis, Braun, Ramirez, Lind, Lucroy.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what Milwaukee was banking on, but they've just been ravaged by injury. 0-2 count. And he went around. Stoltz takes care of Milwaukee in the third, and he'll go to work first in the bottom half. 2-0 Brewers. Bottom of the third inning. Joe Simpson, Jen Hildreth, Chip Carrier with you on a beautiful night at Turner Field. First inning fireworks for Ryan Braun, his 5th home run, 12th and 13th RBIs on this road trip for Milwaukee, and that's the difference in the game. Braves have fallen behind. Willie Peralta, Eric Stoltz will lead things off. And a strike. Eric waves and misses. That's strikeout number 2, and that's how the home third starts.
We showed you those numbers that add up to a real high batting average against Willie Peralta so far on the year. The 2 spots in the batting order that have done the most damage in terms of those batting averages have been the leadoff guy and the number 2 hitter in the lineup. A .372 average combined, and 4 of the 8 homers he's given up.
Here they are, Jace Peterson and Cameron Maybin.
Ironically, for the Braves, their first 2 spots in the batting order for the year, if you look at those numbers, are down near the bottom of the league.
Another shot to the other side by Jace Peterson, but look at Gomez cover ground. He's got it. And that's out number 2. Braves are 6-1 with Jace Peterson batting first. But he's hit the ball in the air twice tonight. 2 outs for Cameron Maybin, who also flied out to center.
They hit that first one though on the nose, right at the shortstop.
One ball, no strikes. Hey, the Marlins are winning tonight. They're hosting Baltimore. It's a 3-0 Miami lead. That game in the 4th inning at Marlins Park. Dan Jennings, the new manager, still looking for his first victory. Marlins have lost 7 straight.
And are now in last place in the division.
I don't think anybody thought that would be the case in late May.
7 in a row and 9 out of 10.
Maybin walks, and that'll bring up Freddie Freeman. So with one swing of the bat, Freddie could tie the game. Peralta buzzed the tower first time Freddie was up.
And Peralta thinks just like Eric Stoltz would in this situation. You know, don't walk the guy in front of Braun. Don't walk the guy in front of Freddie Freeman. Although the Braves have not hit a home run since Jace Peterson's grand slam last Saturday. And only 9 for the month of May.
It's been even longer for Freddie Freeman. His last homer was May 5th against Chad Billingsley of the Phillies.
They've been doing just fine without the long ball.
Sharply hit, but foul past first.
And that's certainly not a surprise given what we knew about the makeup of this team.
No balls and a strike. Snap throw back to first, and Maybin is in safely. Braves lineup is constructed tonight has a grand total of 13 home runs. Ryan Braun hit his 11th by himself tonight. Brewers with 43 homers, the Braves with 26. And since May 8th, a 22-2 difference. Close play.
Oh, that was close. Cameron got caught leaning just a little bit. Couldn't quite get his momentum turned around. Just barely got back.
Turned that ball over a little bit.
He did. It was his changeup. He doesn't throw many of them. Little circle change type pitch.
Freddie's ahead now. 2 balls and a strike. And now 2-2.
Maybin has really extended his lead after he's kind of marked him in terms of how far he can get off with his best move over there. Cameron's gotten back so far, he keeps extending it a little bit. That's a half step more.
He's going. Pitch inside. Maldonado's throw is late. Tough pitch to handle. And Maben's in safely with his 6th steal.
Well, that half step was a big difference maker for him right here. Nice job by Sardinius to handle that one hopper and get the tag on him, but not in time. Great job working that lead by Maben.
Team leader in stolen bases. He's in scoring position and a full count for Freddie. 2 outs, 2-0 Brewers, home third. Pitch. He lost Freeman. Back-to-back 2-out walks. And here's Markakis again. I wonder if Maldonado's going to remind Peralta. Runners on base. Markakis likes the first pitch.
He likes to be aggressive early in the count. Started him with a breaking ball as a result, Chip.
Braves team's hitting .280 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. 5 hits, 5 RBIs from Markakis. Peralta overthrew that one, even count.
Overall, Nick hitting .324 with runners in scoring position.
Good pitch.
Yeah, he's throwing him 2 good sliders.
Visit from Maldonado. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Martin able to keep that one right in front of him, popped up right in front of him.
Freeman at first, Maben at second. Both earned 2-out walks. Now the 2-2 pitch. High hopper towards second. Gomez will take it to the bag himself, and that will retire the side. Braves threaten, fail to score in the 3rd. Ryan Braun leads off the Brewers' 4th. Number feature.
Well, we've been told that this home run binge he's on, he's only hit 2 home runs to left field. Everything else has been in this direction to right center or to straightaway right. So he's locked in.
Yeah, with that home run, he's now 10 home runs from tying Robin Yount for the all-time home run leadership of the Milwaukee Brewers. He's got a ways to go on RBIs, but he's pushing toward 800 of those this year. He's up to 31 now. He takes up and away, ball 1. Braun's season last year was really hampered by a terrible right thumb problem. And he had an off-season procedure to help his thumb heal. He also had a right oblique strain. A most unlike Ryan Braun year. Only 19 homers, 81 knocked in, and 135 games. No mistaking the fact that this guy's a terrific major league hitter. There's also no getting around the fact that he's also suspended for 65 games for performance enhancing drugs in 2013.
And he lied about it. And it pretty much ruined all credibility he had in Milwaukee with the fans and with endorsements. He had his name on some restaurant stuff and clothing lines and I don't know what else, and that all went away.
And he signed through 2020 by the Brewers. And with the kind of season they're having now, I guess, Joe, the big dollars that Braun's going to get, they really have no option but to hope that Ryan Braun will be the kind of player he was before the suspension, and that they can use him as a cornerstone around which to rebuild their ball club. I don't know if anybody else would try to trade for him. But when he's right, he can hit.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if they let it be known he was available, if anybody would come knocking. They did for Josh Hamilton for different reasons.
Rookie of the Year, MVP, 5-time Silver Slugger Award winner, 41 homers in 2012. 39 homers in the 2+ seasons since.
And he's a good outfielder too.
Yeah. Remember, he started as a third baseman. Made 26 errors in 2007. Hit 34 homers. And then they said, son, grab an outfield glove, and Braun exploded. 5 100 RBI seasons. 5 30 or better homer seasons. And this is pitch number 10 in Braun's second at bat. And he draws a base on balls. Stoltz has walked 3 men now. 2 of them leadoff walks. And here's Ramirez. Asked the question last night about Aramis Ramirez. Is he a Hall of Fame worthy Major League third baseman? He's 26 homers away from 400. He's 28 doubles away from 500. One-0 pitch in the air to right, and right at Markakis. And there's the first out. Ramirez a little frustrated. This will be his final big league season, as he hit that ball right on the button, and is the first out.
Beautiful night. French fry holder, state capitol, Peachtree Plaza,
and Joe's car
somewhere out there.
Here's Jason Rogers. C flied out to right. And Stoltz hits the outside corner. Pirates lead the Mets tonight. That's 2-1. Syndergaard and Cole. How about that pitching matchup? Two flamethrowers pitching in Pittsburgh tonight.
We had a scout tell us tonight that the 3 best pitching performances he's seen this year were Shelby Miller here against the Reds, Garrett Cole for the Pirates in an outing for him, and then last night Salazar of the Cleveland Indians, who was electric.
And Shelby Miller's pitching here tomorrow afternoon. If you haven't made plans, come on out to the ballpark. The game will be televised if you're spending the day with friends and family on Fox Sports 1. Brian Anderson is in town with the Brewers. He'll broadcast the game with C.J. Nitkowski. 2-1. Just missed. 3 balls and a strike. And Eric is asking where it was. Dangerous pitch.
3-1 change. I don't think that was a good field pitch for him in the first inning. I believe Braun hit a home run off of it, but since then the more he's thrown, the better it's felt. He's going to come back with it again.
And Bethancourt was able to hang on, and Rogers can't believe it. Ahead in the count. Didn't get 2 changeups, and he struck out. 5 punch outs for Eric. 2 away in the inning.
Well, I think the bottom dropped out of it. He swung right over the top. Wondering how he missed it.
Here's Hector Gomez. He stands in with the Addams Family music. He's out of Santiago. Well, it's Carlos Gomez. Hang on a minute. Get to Hector. He's from San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican. He's no kid either. 27. Keep on throwing it, Eric. They can't hit it right now.
Oh. And that 88 fastball tends to look 98 after all those changeups. PNC Bank Fox track shows he probably should have gotten that call.
That one's golfed to left. And Cunningham will have to play that off the fence. Braun to third will be held. It's a double by Hector Gomez. That ball jumped. Hit very hard. It's double. And they're at second and third with 2 outs.
Fastball looked like down and in. He hit the ball hard to right field his first time up. Back Markakis up to the fence. But a good play by Cunningham off the fence to get it back in quickly. Keeps Braun from scoring. So the fact it stayed in the ballpark, no harm, no foul, provided you get Maldonado. They're going to put him on and work to Peralta, who hits 8th in their lineup.
So here's one of those spots where the pitcher hitting 8th may come back to bite Milwaukee. But there's no place to put Peralta. Peralta's 0 for 13.
Struck him out swinging his first time up. Went after some fastballs.
Just don't put any arc on it.
Yeah, that slow pitch is right down his alley.
Even count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Was Bethancourt crossed up?
I don't know, but it was a good changeup again.
One and 2 to the Brewers pitcher. That one got by Bethancourt, but he got a friendly ricochet. But it was so high, it was ball 3. And Stoltz is about to make his 32nd pitch of the inning, and it's a 3-2 pitch to the pitcher.
Boy, oh boy, wow, Christian was ducking. I mean, he threw his glove in the air and was ducking. That pitch was high, but it wasn't like one that he'd have to jump for.
Well, they had a meeting just before that last pitch, which came after an awkward catch.
Good point. Yeah.
And he might have been crossed up again.
Yeah, it might have been that he was looking for a changeup and it just zipped right by him. And they just had another meeting.
So now there's a big pitch in the game. 3-2. And he walked the pitcher with the bases loaded. Peralta picks up an RBI. 3rd walk of the inning. Braun scores the 2nd Brewer run to make it a 3-0 score. And now Sardinia, the batter. He's the shortstop. And a visit from Roger McDowell as the Braves bullpen begins to work.
From about the 2nd pitch on, once they got to a 1-2 count, Bethancourt and Stoltz could not really connect. They had a meeting, and there was another time where Eric stepped off and kind of kicked at the dirt on the mound. That's Cahill getting loose. Then the wild pitch. So there was something going on there that just wasn't connecting between the pitcher and the catcher. That threw off his rhythm enough to walk the pitcher.
Well, to tell you how out of sorts he is tonight, Stoltz had 8 walks in 40 innings coming into this game. He's got 5 walks. And he's not out of the 4th inning yet. One of the walks was intentional. Oh, Sardinas bats with the bases loaded for the first time. Nothing in 2. If you're just joining us, Ryan Braun hit a 2-run homer in the first inning. Stoltz, with a heavy workload here in the fourth, has surrendered a 3rd run. And from 0-2 to a 2-2 count for the Brewers shortstop.
Yeah, really laboring after not having pitched since the 13th of May. This inning taking a lot out of him.
A double and back-to-back walks with 2 outs. And another pitch will be coming from the Braves left-hander, who's starting in place of Alex Wood tonight. Alex came down with a flu bug or some sort of issue last night. And so Stoltz was the choice to get the start. Trevor Cahill had pitched last night in relief. Pitch popped up, out of play, and on a ricochet back in the lower bowl. So Shelby Miller is expected to pitch on Saturday. Mike Foltynewicz is scheduled to pitch on Sunday. Don't know if Foltynewicz's start will be moved for Alex Wood or if they'll just stay in rotation and give him some extra time. Pitch, ground ball, deep short. Simmons, double clutch, throw to second, safe, and another run is in. Perfectly placed by Sardinia. And for the moment, a run is in. Freddie Gonzalez may be questioning that call at second base. Caspo couldn't cut it off. Simmons got to it.
And as a result, Andrelton can't go to third for a force out. His only play was at second and a double clutch. Got there late. Pitcher went in standing up, but I think he beat the throw.
So it's an infield hit. Gomez scores on the play. Gives Sardinia his first RBI. And that's going to be the end of the line for Eric Stoltz. Key sequence in this inning. The bases loaded walk to Willie Peralta. That changed the game. 2 more runs across. Milwaukee leads by 4 now.
CUverse, Delta Airlines, and your local Ford dealer.
The Brewers have a 4-0 lead. Eric Stoltz is chased here in the top of the 4th inning. Time for our Toyota tweet of the week. Aside from Shelby Miller, which Braves newcomer has impressed you the most this season and why? Tweet us at Sports South using the hashtag #FirstYearBraves. Your tweet could be read during a Braves live postgame. Carlos Gomez hits.
Trevor Cahill has been outstanding his last 4 outings, covering 5 innings, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts.
And for Eric Stoltz, what was a miserable run of poor run support in San Diego continued tonight. Last year, in 32 starts, the Padres scored a grand total of 57 runs for him. He got none tonight. But I think he'd be the first to tell you he was not sharp after not pitching since May the 13th.
Well, here's another issue for the Braves in their bullpen. I think they called up Ian Thomas today. That helps give them an extra arm down there. But consider this, both Cahill and Stoltz were in the rotation at the beginning of the year. They got moved to the bullpen. They became the two long guys. So with the illness of Alex Wood tonight, Stoltz pitched, Cahill's already in there. And you hope against hope that Cahill can get through this inning, get out of it without any more runs being scored, and work at least one more.
Still a manageable ball game. 4-0 though. Bases loaded for Carlos Gomez and 2 outs. He's the 8th man to hit. And Cahill thought he had him struck out.
94 on that pitch that just missed. Or did it? PNC Bank Fox Tracks. That's the second one this inning that could have been called a strike and wasn't.
Bounding ball up the middle. Instead of a strikeout, it's a run scoring hit. So Carlos Gomez bangs one up the middle. That's his 18th RBI. Maldonado scores. Peralta to third. Sardinia's at second. And that run's charged to Eric Stoltz. It's a 5-0 score.
Anyone running except the pitcher, and I think they would have gotten a second run on this base hit. 2 outs running on the crack of the bat, but Ed Cedar didn't want to send Peralta to the plate on the chance of a collision.
So the Brewers bat around. Here's Chris Davis, and he takes low, ball 1. Davis, born in Lakewood, California, lives in Glendale, Arizona in the offseason. Bounces one out of play, even count. Braves were finished with Milwaukee very early in the season last year, kind of like we are with the Cincinnati Reds this year. So it's easy to have his 22 homer year fly under radar from a Braves fan's perspective. That's what Chris did. Also drove in 69 runs in 144 games. He got 500 at bats.
Yeah, like I said, he had been platooning early in the year and then caught fire.
That ball's hit hard toward right. Markakis can't get it. And look at Gomez fly around third. He's going to come home and, well, he's going to be sent back. That's ground rule double. Ball bounced over the fence. He would have scored easily had that ball not hit the seats. Ed Cedar, the third base coach, told him to gear down as he got to third base because it was a double. And Cahill's given up back-to-back hits and 3 more runs as a result.
Front door breaking ball that hung up there for Davis, who stayed on it. Braves catch a break there. It saved him a run, at least temporarily.
Braun walked to start the inning. He's also homered. He scored 2 of the 7 Milwaukee runs. And a strike. All the runs scored belong to Eric Stoltz. Runners at second and third are Cahill's with 2 out. And low for Ryan Braun. 7 runs on 5 hits. Milwaukee's also been given 5 walks tonight. And past Freddie Freeman. That's going to score a couple of runs. Ryan Braun's having a big night. It's 9-0. 4 RBIs for Ryan Braun.
And again, he goes the other way. Fastball above the belt. Took it the other way. You mentioned those 5 walks. 4 of them have scored.
And something you won't see in the box score was the miscommunication between Bethancourt and Eric Stoltz with the pitcher up and the bases loaded. 2 outs in this inning.
Yeah, which would have gotten him out of the inning with no damage.
So Ramos Ramirez will hit. He lined out to right his first time up. Braun at second, 2 down, and a swing and a miss. We will at some point show you 3 groups of statistics of 3 major league third basemen, and we want to compare their numbers. I mentioned there is a borderline Hall of Fame candidate. He's already announced this will be his final major league season. Former Pirate, Cub, and now Milwaukee Brewer. One ball, 1 strike. And back out of play. It's 2-2. Told you Ramirez broke in with the Pittsburgh Pirates. You might recall in 2003 when the Chicago Cubs were in Atlanta. They pulled off the blockbuster deal with the Pittsburgh Pirates that brought him to Chicago. And the rest, they say, for the Cubs was history. That was the year they faced the Marlins in the NLCS in the infamous Bartman series. The inning finally comes to a close, but not before Milwaukee has a 7-run frame. The Braves came in the 7th last night and a 56-pitch inning. Hear those numbers. Now, one of these 3 men is considered to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And All have played 18 to 19 seasons. Pretty similar numbers, right? So our Zaxby's indescribably good question tonight is Aramis Ramirez Hall of Famer? There's your reveal. Chipper Jones, Adrian Beltre, who's gotten to 400 homers, and Ramirez, who's 26 away for the Brewers.
I'm going to say no.
No?
I'm going to say no. That guy would be the guy you'd figure to have Hall of Fame numbers without a doubt.
Cunningham with the drive toward left. There's out number one.
And Ramirez is 90 home runs short of Chipper, 500 RBIs short of Chipper. So I'm going to say no.
And there's no wrong answer. I just thought it was an interesting comparison.
500 hits, I should have said, and not that many RBIs.
But still an outstanding career.
Outstanding.
And an excellent defensive third baseman, too. We just didn't have enough space on that graphic to show you Ramirez's defensive work. I mean, he's been as good as they come for a long time over there. And as we've said a couple of times, this will be his last big league season. So the Braves have a lot of work to do tonight. Down 9-0. A 7-run fourth for the Brewers. And the key to that was a bases loaded walk to the man on the mound for the Brewers, Willie Peralta.
Yeah, I don't know what the communication issue was between he and Bethancourt, but they were not on the same page during that at bat.
And so a crazy pitcher's line for Eric Stoltz. 3 hits, 7 runs, 5 walks and a homer. And 87 pitches in 3 2/3 innings. 1-2 pitch for Callaspo. Bounced up there. It's now 2-2.
I don't know why Maldonado keeps going out there unless they think there's something wrong with Peralta. Now the trainer's going to come out. He did have to run the bases after the walk. He really shortened that delivery up, almost like he couldn't follow through like he likes to do. He's going to throw a couple, I think. Says he's okay.
So that does not count as a visit to the mound because of the injury inquiry. And Callaspo will dig back in with a 2-2 count. 9-run Milwaukee game at 9 o'clock Eastern time in Atlanta. Chip and Joe with you. Jen Hildreth, our dugout reporter. And a bouncing ball to second. Gomez has it. I don't think you're going to see him lob one to first the rest of the year. That one had some mustard on it. 2 outs.
Yeah, he embarrassed himself last night with that, with the infield in. Made a nice play on a sharply hit ball to him and then just lobbed it over the head of Adam Lind.
And Andrelton Simmons, the batter. Five ground outs, 2 strikeouts for Peralta. And that one off the plate. Ball 1. Baltimore's tied the Marlins 3-3 in the 5th down in Miami. And Ramirez at third. Hops and throws to first. And we're through 4 innings. It's all Milwaukee in game 2. 9-0, believe it or not.
Field has been busy, especially early on. Nick Markakis was busy. He's collected 5 outs already, but I talked to Cameron Maben, who had a fantastic play last night in the 4th inning. He caught Gerardo Parra trying to tag up and get to second after a big catch deep in center field. And when I asked Cameron if he thought he had one of the best arms in the outfield, he was very quick to defer. Talked about Nick Markakis. He said he's got 2 gold gloves. I want to get there. I work at it every day. He talked about Johnny Gomes. So you guys talked earlier in the broadcast about the strength of the Braves outfield. Maven trying to be a part of that.
He's done a nice job. Remember, Eric Young Jr. won the center field job in spring training. And then the Braves got Cameron Maben with the trade of Craig Kimbrell. And now Jason Rogers reaches as Cahill bobbled a bounding ball to the right side of the pitcher's mound. And that's how the Brewers' 5th starts.
It'll be ruled a swinging bunt hit. I think Trevor had time to glove this, as Rogers does not run all that well, even though he was headed to Alabama A&M to play quarterback before he decided to play baseball only. Braves have not made an error in 4 games, but that was close to one there. Now, with what Jim was talking about with Cameron Maben, he said he hopes to be part of it. He is part of it.
Yeah.
He's the main part of it out there in center field.
1 ball, no strikes for Hector Gomez. That's way inside. Ball 2. Four straight, and Gomez is on. Trevor had been doing good work out of the Braves bullpen tonight. Not the same
I don't know
story.
if this is because it's back-to-back games for him. He had worked in back-to-back games on the 8th and 9th of May. Didn't have any trouble on the 2nd game. Not the case tonight.
Game turned the last time Maldonado and Peralta batted. Maldonado was intentionally walked despite a 1-for-29 slide. And then Eric Stoltz walked the pitcher with the bases loaded, and the Brewers took off from there. A 7-run fourth.
Well,
you got a 2-run homer in the first.
You got to walk him.
Oh, no, I'm not second guessing it. That's the unfortunate way it turned out. And is Ian Thomas beginning to loosen up? Probably see a double switch as Cahill spots due second when the Braves hit in the 5th inning. And is there a problem at first with Gomez?
Yeah, they were checking him out, like contact lens issue. Michael Blazek loosening up. I don't know if whatever they've talked to Willie Peralta about is serious. He's got to go one more inning to be the pitcher of record with this 9-run lead. And you know he wants to go back out there.
Would sort of sum up his year to this point, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Get 9 runs to play with and can't go 5 to pick up your second win.
Yeah. And throwing a 1-hit shutout.
Right. Base hit to center. So Milwaukee will have the bases loaded with nobody out.
This has not been a kind situation for Trevor Cahill. Let's see if he stays in here to work to the pitcher or a pinch hitter, and it's going to be a pinch hitter.
It's Kyle Loesch.
How about that?
Well, again, they only have 4 extra players.
Yeah. This season with the bases loaded, and it includes tonight, Chip, Trevor Cahill against opponents. Other teams are 4 for 5 with 9 RBIs in bases loaded situations against Trevor.
So Kyle Loesch will bat for Peralta, who can only pitch 4 innings tonight. That's a shame for him. He was throwing great. And a strike to Kyle Loesch. I've always liked this guy. Kyle Loesch, a bulldog, gamer, takes the ball, pitches deep in the games. Missed some time with a forearm problem that required surgery. As he bounces this ball out to second, a run's going to score on the double play. No RBI for Loesch. Rogers scores to make it 10-zip. And Sardinius will come up. Gomez to third, and 2 men are down. If the Brewers continue to struggle, I'm certain that Kyle Loesch, with his postseason experience with the Cardinals, would be a very attractive pitching candidate to acquire at the trade deadline.
I agree, and has some postseason experience.
So Sardinius, that's left-handed now. And he pulls the ball to the right side. Freeman's got it. Underhand flip to Cahill. And that retires the side. Milwaukee adds a 10th run. Braves are coming up for the 5th. Sunday and make our way to Los Angeles, then San Francisco, then Phoenix for a date with the Arizona Diamondbacks. There's your unhappy line score tonight, 10-0. Milwaukee has the lead as we enter the bottom of the 5th inning. Time for today's AT Universe trivia question. Since 1974, Aramis Ramirez is second among National League third basemen with 10 grand slams. Who's first?
Since 74.
Mike Schmidt comes to mind.
Yeah.
A name fraught with danger in this particular family.
Yes.
We got to get an exterminator in here. We've been invaded again. As you see, Michael Blazek on the mound. Here.
That was on Chip's back just a minute ago.
I showered and everything. Check him out. Now, is that a stink bug? We never did really decide what that was.
A leaf leg bug is what we were told.
You think if we paid Lemke $5, he'd eat it?
We can only ask. All he can say is no.
He's over there. Look at that thing. Oh, wait. There you
go. Those are some legs.
Swing and miss by Bethencourt. When your partner looks at you with big wide eyes, like he's seen a ghost, and says, "Don't move," that's not a good sign. Popped up. Right side, foul ground. Who wants it? First baseman's got it. And Rogers puts it away for out number 1. So the killer bees, the Brewers and the Bugs. And Trevor Cahill's going to stay in, try to gobble up some innings for Atlanta tonight. Trevor's 0 for 4. And a strike. Baltimore's taken a 6-3 lead over the Marlins. Things went from bad to worse for Miami yesterday. They got swept by the Diamondbacks, and they had a charity event that was scheduled after the game last night, and the players were supposed to attend, and none of them showed up.
I can't imagine how that happens where none of them. Zero. That's a big snafu.
One of the players was quoted as saying after the disappointing loss to the Arizona Diamondbacks, they didn't feel like being social.
Oh.
1-2 count. Hey, Trevor Cahill strokes one up the middle off Blazek. There's something for the crowd to cheer about. First hit of the year for Trevor. And the second Braves hit of the night.
Fastball up, let her high. That away, Trevor. You know, that player quoted as saying they didn't feel like being social. Maybe the fans won't feel like showing up.
Jace Peterson is the hitter. He's 0 for 2. I mean, in the case of the Marlins, Joe, this season got off to the absolute worst possible start you could imagine. We were there on opening day. Braves beat them, obviously. We had the rain delay where they didn't get the roof shut. David Sampson and the Marlins had a, as they said, faulty radar reading. So we had a delay during the game. And Jeffrey Loria was sitting in the rain, sitting in his front row seat saying, "Last time I checked, I think we have a roof, don't we?" And they couldn't get the tarp out because we found out their tarp is in center field, which doesn't do an awful lot of good. 0-2 count. And Peterson took a call, third strike. There's out number 2. And runner at first, 2 outs for Cameron Maybin. He's our T-Mobile game changer.
6-game hitting streak coming into play tonight. 8 for 20. 5 for 9 with runners in scoring position over that stretch. So he's playing really well on both sides, offense and defense. Stole a base tonight too. Just looking at that game in Miami, and Henderson Alvarez gave up 6 runs, 4 were earned, so they kicked the ball around. But also Cishek came in relief of him and gave up a couple of hits. So you know he gave up a couple of Henderson Alvarez's runs.
Wow. Who's their opening day starter?
And their closer, opening day closer.
Right. I mean, it's hard to figure because you look at the individual pieces on that Marlin team. There's really good players. We love Martin Prado. Their shortstop, terrific player. D. Gordon led the league in hits, maybe still does. I haven't checked today. Sitting over 400. You've got Giancarlo Stanton, who hits the ball as far as anybody in the world. Ozuna's a 20 home run man in center.
Yeah, all 3 of their outfielders would fit in anybody's
right.
lineup.
There were questions about their pitching staff. And there were questions about their bullpen. Those questions have been accurate. It was billed as a season where some thought the Marlins had enough to challenge the Nationals for the top spot in the National League East. They still could. But man, oh man, if they dug themselves a gigantic hole in the first 2 months of the season. Toward third. Ramirez can't handle that one. The inning stays alive with 2 outs. Arama's upset about that one. He thought he should have had that baseball. Don't know that he would have gotten Maybin. Probably had a shot at Trevor Cahill at second.
Breaking ball. They rule it an error, and I think that's a good call. Proud of Trevor. He was hustling to second. He wasn't watching the ball. He didn't know if Ramirez had fielded it or not, and he went into second base sliding. So good for him.
How many wins do you think, in your estimation, Joe, as you look at the National League, how many wins will it take to win one of the 2 wild cards? Let's just say the second wild card. What would you guess as it stands now? 85 wins?
I was going to say 83 or 84 even. Just a couple of 3 games over 500 ought to do it.
Okay, let's say for simple math purposes, 86 is what it takes.
The
Marlins would have to go 70 and 50. They're 10 under now. It'll be a 30-game turnaround for them. I don't know if any team can do that. Much of that damage inflicted by the Braves. They've won all 6 games they've played down in South Florida. Here's a chance for Friday to dent into a 10-0 Milwaukee lead.
If we've learned anything from that club down in South Florida, it's that they're not afraid to bail. If things don't look good and don't think they've got a chance, look out. Talk about unloading players. Blazek fastball, curveball, slider. Low 90s fastball. When a starting pitcher doesn't go the required 5 innings, when the team has the lead, the official score can give the win if that's the way the score winds up. In this case, with Milwaukee on top, to the pitcher who was the most effective.
Freeman hit it right into the shift and right to the shortstop Sardinia. And this game goes to the 6th. is the big story tonight. Let's check out our Toyota key play of the game.
It was a key at bat. Bases loaded, 2 out. Willie Peralta, the pitcher's up. Looked like a cross up there. Bethancourt went out and talked. Definitely something awry there on what Bethancourt was looking for and what Stoltz threw. And then the ball 4 pitch that walked the pitcher and opened the floodgates for the Brewers as they went on to score 7 runs. That was the first of 7. An unfortunate sequence of pitches there.
So Ian Thomas just up from AAA Gwinnett. Those were his numbers for Brian Snitker's ball club.
Not bad, huh?
That next to last line's the most impressive one. 16 strikeouts, only 1 walk. Now, we've talked a lot about how the bullpen has had its share of troubles for the Braves. I'll tell you what, they've pitched a lot better in May. 3.52 ERA, down about a run. And a 3-3 record.
Ian was up earlier for the Braves. No decisions. Had a 3.70 ERA with the big club. 3 walks, 3 strikeouts.
One and one for Carlos Gomez, who scored a couple of runs already. And this one right up the elevator shaft. Chase Peterson should catch it, and he does. 1 out. Here's Davis. He's doubled home a pair of runs. Well, we hope our pal Bob Uecker's enjoying the ball game. I'm sure he is. Great voice of the Milwaukee franchise. Mr. Baseball didn't travel to Atlanta for this series. He's taking selected road trips off this year. Hopefully we'll have a chance to see him when the Braves head to Milwaukee in early July. The 6th, 7th, and 8th will be at Miller Park. Swing and a miss for Davis.
Good changeup from Ian.
Followed by a fastball well off the plate. Ball and 2 strikes. Adonis Garcia was the man sent back to Gwinnett to make room for Ian Thomas on the Major League roster. And that'll bounce into the Brewer dugout. Two and two. 10 runs is not the high water mark for Milwaukee in a single game this year. They scored 12 runs against the Cubs on May the 9th. And that caught the inside corner. No argument from Davis. Good pitch, good result, and 2 are out.
That was on a changeup too.
Fact for Milwaukee, I mentioned their good work against the Cubs. They've beaten the Cubs 4 out of 6 times this year. Great rivalry in the National League Central. Here's Ryan Braun. Big night for Braun. He's reached base all 3 times. He's homered, walked, doubled, scored twice, and knocked in 4. 6 homers, 17 RBIs on the road trip for Ryan Braun.
You know, that walk to Braun leading off the fourth that got all that big inning started, that was a very borderline pitch that could have gone Eric Stoltz's way also. Braun had complained about a couple of pitches prior to ball 4, and it may have worked that he had lobbied for that call.
2-0 count. Yeah, it's a strike. Now 2-2. That's into the.
Guess we got some catcher interference.
Yep, that's exactly right. That was a foul ball into the club level, and Braun will take first on catcher's interference. That'll be an error on Bethancourt.
And no question about that.
So it's still a perfect offensive night for Braun. Here's Aramis Ramirez. Perfect for Braun in that he's reached 4 times. Ramirez 0 for 3. Ball 2. Pirates lead the Mets 4-1. That game's now in the 9th inning. Mets have hit the skids a bit after a terrific start. They're having trouble scoring runs. Well, David Wright's been out a long time, hasn't he?
Sure has. I know they'd love to get him back. He got a little offense yesterday from Lucas Duda, who hit a couple of homers.
Hit those off Jaime Garcia, who is pitching for the first time in 11 months for the Cardinals. And now Thomas having some 2-out trouble. He walks Ramirez and will face Jason Rogers. Nationals have taken over the division lead. Half game over the Mets, 3.5 games over the Braves. And Washington's winning tonight, 2-1 over the Philadelphia Phillies. Nationals are 17-4 since April 30th, averaging almost 6 runs a game this month. And those are the standings now that the Mets have lost. It's a final. Pittsburgh beat them 4-1. Cole beats Syndergaard.
April 28th was the night they came from behind and beat the Braves 13-12. That's what got them going.
Bryce Harper hit another home run tonight. In his last 14 games, 11 homers, 24 RBIs, and 20 runs.
That's incredible.
So as I mentioned last night, between Ryan Braun and Bryce Harper, you've got quite a battle for Offensive Player of the Month.
But if the season ended today, Brian Harper would be a runaway MVP.
1-1 pitch. Taken at the knees for a strike. It's 1-2. Line out of play. Two teams off to their best ever starts are hooking up in the I-70 series, as they call it. The Cardinals are in Kansas City to play the Royals. Lance Lynn and Chris Young. Remember Chris Young? Big, tall right-hander. He's 3-0 in rotation for the Royals and winning big tonight. Royals have won 26 of their first 40 games. And a base hit to left by Jason Rogers. And Milwaukee will play it station to station with a 10-0 lead. Rogers has a couple of hits. They're on to third. Ramirez at second. And more 2-out trouble.
Well, they're starting on the catcher's interference, and it seemed like that Ian Thomas got a little rattled. Walked Ramirez on 4 pitches. Had looked very good on the first 2 guys he faced.
Gomez up for a 4th time. He's doubled, scored, and walked. And there's a strike. Braves pounded Milwaukee 10-1 last night. The Brewers are returning the favor tonight. It's 10-0. And off Bethancourt's glove. On the ricochet, flip to the plate, and Thomas will apply the tag. Braun's tagged out on a pitch to the backstop. And that's an interesting way to end the top of the 6th inning. Milwaukee loads the bases with 2 outs. But the Braves got a favorable bounce. And that's about all that's gone right tonight. 10-0, Milwaukee the lead.
And a happy Braves fan is here at the Chop House. I tell you what, this is great because if you're an Atlanta sports fan right now, you've got the Braves right out there. You've got all these TVs behind you, most of them on Braves. Some of them are on Hawks, who are just about a halftime game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And just a reminder, switch over to Sports South later tonight after the Hawks game, 11:30 special Hawks Live playoff edition coming your way. Make sure you don't miss that.
All right, Jen, thank you very much. You'll notice every time Jen's at the ballpark, she's around a concession stand. Have you noticed that?
I have.
Philadelphia, it's cheesesteaks. Here in Atlanta, she's patrolling around Rathbun's down below. As Markakis grounds 1 to short. That should be easy, and it is. There's out number 1. Halftime, Hawks are down 5, I believe. There she is. Atta girl. Well, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
That's not for me.
It's been, oh, come on.
Definitely not for me.
It's been that kind of night.
1 for Jen and 2 for her friends.
One away. 54-49. The LeBrons lead the Hawks in game 2 over at the Phillips Center, or Phillips Arena, I beg your pardon. Strike to Todd Cunningham. Braves have 2 hits tonight. It's 0-2. Mike Fiers is saying what Alex Wood would have said today after Atlanta scored 10 runs. Save a few for tomorrow. They're going to need all the help they can get. The Brew Crew is going to have their hands full with Shelby Miller, who's taking the ball for the Braves. His first start since that masterpiece he authored down in Miami. And Cunningham's down on strikes. Blazek got him. 2 out.
Blazek's done a nice job. Pitched around the error by Ramirez in the 5th. Only base hit off of him was by Cahill.
Alberto Callaspo takes a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Little roller toward first, and Blazek has a very easy 6th. 10-0. Go to the 7th.
Right stuff, low price, every day.
Rough night at the old ball yard tonight. Milwaukee has a big lead, 10-0. 2 in the first, 7 in the fourth, and 1 more in the 5th inning of play. Hector Gomez, Martin Maldonado, and then the pitcher spot is coming up for Milwaukee in the 7th. Ryan Braun's had a big night. He's knocked in 4 runs, scored 2. In fact, every Brewer who started this game has scored at least 1 run, with the exception of Aramis Ramirez. Matt Garza took the loss last night, but he and his mates enjoying a rebound game tonight. 0-2 for Gomez. And up and away, ball 1.
Yeah, they haven't had too many opportunities to enjoy one like this. You mentioned the game against the Cubs, and between that and this, it's been some slow going for their offense. And 12 games under 500.
And now they have to worry about Willie Peralta. He left after 4 innings with 2 hits. Didn't go deep enough to qualify for the win.
It's another strikeout on the inside corner on a changeup to a right-handed batter from Ian Thomas. He got Chris Davis looking at the same pitch.
Maldonado, the batter, he's singled in 3 trips and takes high and tight. Tom Glavine, if memory serves, when he was with the Mets, was convinced to use that pitch by his pitching coach Rick Peterson. Tom, as you know, lived on the outside corner to right-hand hitters, but learned to throw that changeup inside to both sides of the plate, and it really helped his career in the latter stages of it with New York. And I'll never forget the analogy that Rick Peterson used with Tom Glavine. And for those of you who play golf, you'll understand it immediately. The rules of golf allow you 14 clubs. And Rick Peterson said when you eliminate that part of the plate, you're playing a round of golf with 4 or 5 clubs. Why not use all of your weapons? And for Tom, that was apparently a big revelation. And Thomas has used it to nice effect tonight in relief. 2-2.
I mean, that swing, that was right off the end of the bat. Maldonado had to check to see if he took a chunk out of the end of the bat. He was that far out in front of the changeup. Good delivery, good motion on it, and just cued.
No swing. Jim Joyce, one of the best in the business. He'll have the plate tomorrow.
And he'll be in fine voice.
And Jim lets you know it's a strike. Ballpark knows it. 3 balls, 2 strikes for Maldonado, and high, ball 4. So 2 walks for Thomas tonight. He had 1 walk and 16 strikeouts at AAA this year. And Blazek will be the batter. Blazek's 26 out of Las Vegas. Came to Milwaukee in 2013 for John Axford. And he swings the bat, drives one to the gap in right center field. Maldonado on his way to third is going to get the green light. The relay throw is over the head of Jace Peterson, and Michael Blazek with an RBI double. That's his first big league hit. It's an RBI double.
2 RBIs out of the pitcher's spot tonight. The bases loaded walk. Now the double. The pitcher gets his first hit, his first RBI. In this case, it's Blazek. And the 1-out walk came back to haunt Ian Thomas.
5 of the 11 Milwaukee runs have been the result of walks. And now Sardinhas drives one to deep left. Cunningham is back onto the warning track, and he's got it for the second out. That might have been a home run in Milwaukee, but not here in Atlanta. And 2 are out. And back to the top, Carlos Gomez. Told you last night that Gomez signed with the Mets as a non-drafted free agent in 2002. He was 16. At the age of 21, fractured the hamate bone in his left hand. A year later, went to the Twins for Johan Santana. A year later, went to the Brewers for J.J. Hardy. and was not a full-time player in Milwaukee. 97 games in 2010, 94 games in 2011. Became an everyday player in 2012 and responded with 19 homers. Back-to-back years with 20 homers.
One of the reasons was because of how wild he played. I mean, with reckless abandon, he made tons of mistakes on the bases. And Ron Renicky said, you know, we've got to figure out a way to corral that energy, because he's of the mindset, just run till they tag you. And once they got a little bit of a grip on that and got him to play the game, use that energy in the right way, boy, things just took off for him.
Yeah, there aren't too many guys in the game anymore that can hit 20 homers and steal 30 bases. 2013, he had 24 homers, stole 40 bags, was caught just 7 times. Last year, he stole 34 bases and hit 23 homers. He's always been a good outfielder. Fly ball to center. Maben to his right is going to have plenty of room. And that sends us to the 7th inning stretch. The Brewers add a run. They lead by 11 in game 2 of the series. For the Brewers, took over for Ron Renicky, and he's got World Series experience. Remember Game 7 in 1997 against the Cleveland Indians. Council had a big part in that and scored the World Series winning run and made a world champion out of the Marlins. Great career.
He really did have a good career. He made absolutely the most out of his talent and ability. Played every game like it was his last. Very solid career.
And Council really continues the trend of major league managers who've never had managerial experience. Mike Matheny of the Cardinals. A.J. Hinch hadn't had much until he got to Houston. I mean, he managed in Arizona, I believe it was, and it was not a successful stint there.
Robin Ventura.
Yep. Paul Molitor, he's been a coach. I don't know if Paul had managed anywhere before. That's worked out well. So we'll see if it works for Milwaukee. It's worked tonight to perfection. The Brewers have held the Braves to 2 hits. And Blazek is back out there, and he delivers a strike. Nothing in 2.
Prior to tonight, Blazek 17 appearances, 19 2/3 innings. So most of them were an inning or less. And he's starting his 3rd inning here.
high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I think that's an area it'll be interesting to watch the next 5-10 years in baseball, and how major league managers are groomed and hired. There's the pitch. Gone are the days when a Walter Alston would manage, or maybe a Bobby Cox certainly, or a Tommy Lasorda, a Bobby Valentine. Manage all the way through the ranks of an organization and wait for your chance to manage at the big league level. As this ball is hit to short, there just aren't that many guys that do that anymore. And there aren't that many of today's modern players who want to go all the way back to the minor leagues and start over and manage an A ball and double A ball. Certainly not the superstars. So Craig Counsell, organizational guy, great career, knows the organization, grew up in the Milwaukee clubhouse for the most part, gets a crack at managing the team. He was given a 3-year contract.
Like Robin Ventura, who had been with the White Sox for quite a while and is assistant to the general manager, Craig is well versed on their organization, how it operates, familiar with the people in their minor league system, players down there. So while he may not have managed, he was well versed on the Brewers, period.
And a respected player, which I would assume earns him respect from the men he's managing. In fact, he played with some of these guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be a hard thing for Craig to do or not. It's one thing to be a teammate, altogether something else to be your club's boss. One-two count for Christian Bethancourt. And this one's popped up right side over near the Braves dugout. Rogers might have room. He does have room and makes the play for the second out.
Rogers had a nice night coming home. Nice play there. Couple of hits. Run scored. Out of Banneker High School.
Eric Young will be the hitter. Why hasn't gotten a whole lot of playing time with the emergence of Cameron Maybin and the hot start of Todd Cunningham. So he'll get it at bat in an 11-0 game. Young 2 for 10 as a pinch hitter, and a 181 overall batting average. Nick Massett is ready to pitch the 8th. Back to the screen. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
No word on why Peralta came out of the ball game, but I wonder if if he, that long inning in the 4th, I wonder if he just tightened up. His back stiffened up or something.
Swing and a miss by Young, and that takes care of the Braves in the 7th. We go to the 8th.
game to pitch the 8th for the Atlanta Braves, and Nick has talked about how gratifying it is to be out on the field. He said he's excited to be in a Braves uniform, but it goes a little deeper than that, guys. I told this story on Braves Live a couple of nights ago. Worth repeating. He missed 2 years, 2012 and 13, had shoulder surgery, then found out he still had an awful lot of pain. Turns out he had thoracic outlet syndrome, which means he had a compression of nerves or blood vessels in the neck and armpit area, causing him a lot of pain, numbness in his hand, had to have a rib and 2 muscles in his neck removed. And then after that, he had a staph infection. Doctors told him he was a day away from dying. So when he tells you it's gratifying to be out there and be healthy, you definitely know that he means it.
I would say, Jen, that when he faces any type of situation, he realizes, you know what, I think I can get through this no matter how many guys are on base. Wow, what a story.
So, Jen, thanks. Great report. Great job tonight. Chris Davis will face Massett to start the Milwaukee 8th. Some defensive changes in the Atlanta outfield. Let's start in left, where Eric Young Jr. will take over. Todd Cunningham is in right. Rest of the night off for Nick Markakis. 11-0 Brewers after 7. A pop to right. Cunningham in a few steps. And he's got it for out number 1. Let's see if Atlanta can figure out a way to get Ryan Braun out. 7 homers, 23 RBIs for Braun in the first 22 days of May. Still very much a polarizing player, but you know what? He served his time. And he's putting up big numbers for the Brewers now.
I was told that when he first came back and was going through the league for the first time, that the Atlanta fans were as hard on him as any fans that they encountered, that he encountered.
I can understand that. There's still an awful lot of sensitivity about Barry Bonds and Hank Aaron. So you can understand how Braves fans feel about the PED usage. All Braun can do is swing the bat, play, and prove that he didn't need that stuff in the first place. Massett's falling behind 3-0. Corner, good velocity at 92 miles an hour. Driven toward the gap in left center field. Young can't get it. That's going to bounce off the Xfinity sign. And Ryan Braun strokes a 1-out double. He's locked in.
Yeah, I said locked in earlier. I don't know what's beyond that, but it's better than that. Great extension way off the plate. Ball was really the middle of the plate, but he's standing way off the plate, steps in, and just didn't hit this one high enough. It was hit hard enough, but another extra base hit.
So 2 doubles and a homer for Ryan Braun. And he's at second for Elian Herrera. Ramos Ramirez gets the rest of the night off. His history of leg and back problems. And with a hefty Milwaukee lead, you can understand why Craig Counsell wants to rest Ramirez if possible. In the air to center. Maben drifts back. He's going to have room. Braun at the bag. Thinks about tagging. Won't. And 2 are out. Jason Rogers bats. The Metro Atlanta native has a couple of hits and a run scored tonight. Pirates beat the Mets 4-1. Washington beat the Phillies 2-1. Baltimore's now up. Is that a 6 or an 8?
Looks like an 8.
8-4 over Miami in the 8th. Giants 3, Colorado nothing at Coors Field. Boy, the Giants had a great series against the Dodgers. Shut them out 3 straight games
against that potent offense.
Hunter Pence hitting .300 with 4 RBIs and 5 runs in the 5 games since he's come back. The Giants haven't lost since he's returned from a broken arm. And Nick Massett surrenders a Braun double, and that's it in the 8th inning. Top of the order up for the Braves.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Atlanta Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
Innings. Changes coming up for Milwaukee. Before we tell you about those, let's get back to our AT Uverse trivia question. Joe, let's see if we can salvage something positive out of a big lead for Milwaukee tonight. Since 1974, Aramis Ramirez is second among National League third basemen with 10 grand slams. Who's got the most?
I got to go with Schmidt.
You're going to go with Mike Schmidt? Oh, shoot. I'll stick with Mike Schmidt. See if we're right. Matt Williams with 12 of them. The manager of the Washington Nationals. So Jace Peterson will go to work. New pitcher on the mound for Milwaukee. And this is Corey Knebel.
Is he related to Evil?
I was going to say it's Ebel Knievel. And he's got a good hook. He just showed it to Jace Peterson. It's 0-2.
Blazek went a career high 3 innings. He was outstanding. 1-hit shutout ball. Knebel fastball, curveball. 94, 95.
He too was part of that Giovanni Gallardo trade. Luis Sardinas and Corey Knebel came over on January the 19th. Born in Denton, Texas, lives in Austin, Texas. And it's Knebel, actually. I beg your pardon, I mispronounced it. Knebel. Who was originally a Detroit Tiger draft pick. Tigers traded him to Texas for Joakim Soria at the trade deadline last year. Tigers perennially looking for relief pitching. Gave up this young man to acquire the Mexicutioner, Joakim Soria. And a base hit the other way by Cameron Maybin. His good work at the plate continues. That gives him a 7-game hitting streak. And that's only the 3rd hit of the night for Atlanta.
Took some 97-mile-an-hour gas the other way.
Knebel might be a closer in waiting. He was the closer at Texas. 37 saves with the Longhorns, second most in school history. Houston Street had 41. And he was born to pitch in Milwaukee. He's an amateur brewer.
Is he really?
Yep. Calls his beer Bird Brew, which is a reference to his college nickname, the Bird Dog.
I think he missed a chance to call it Ebel Knebel.
He might.
Brewski.
He might. But he's not the only Milwaukee player that was born to be a Brewer. Same for Ryan Braun. His mom worked in an Anheuser-Busch brewery in California. Nothing in 2 for Freddie Freeman. Gerardo Parra takes over for the Brewers in center. Brewers about hit the Braves 11-3 tonight. This one got out of hand in the top of the 4th. The Brewers scored 7 times. Freddie didn't swing. 2-2. Brewer's got plenty of hops on his fastball, doesn't he?
He does.
96.
Boy, he comes right over the top with it, too. Very impressive. Holds the line down, pitching downhill. His tall frame. Gotta like him a lot.
Must be a number 46 thing, throwing 95 or 96, huh? Kimbrel and then Knebel. Is Pedro Siriaco. That's in the pitcher's spot. Has worked a scoreless inning. And a tapper is rolled foul. It's 0-2. Diamondbacks lead the Cubs 1-0. That game's in the second. San Diego and the Dodgers are scoreless in the first in LA. Tigers beat Houston 6-2. Cleveland beat Cincinnati 7-3. Angels 11-5 over the Red Sox. Tampa Bay's winning again 5-2 over Oakland. They won 3-0 yesterday. Royals 5-0 over the Cardinals. Twins and White Sox tied 2 apiece. Minnesota, one of the pleasant surprises in the major leagues this year. Twins are only 3 games out of first and 6 games over 500.
Paul Molitor doing a terrific job. And they're missing some of their frontline pitching.
1-2 pitch. Irvin Santana suspended. He'll be back in July. And Jordan Schaefer asked one of their scouts, Wayne Kripke, was here, how Jordan was doing. He said he's banged up. He's hurt.
His knee.
Yeah, and said he wasn't off to a particularly good start. Played great last year. Now Jordan Schaefer is indeed hurt for the Twins. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Siriaco. Strike 3 called. A 94-mile-an-hour sinking fastball. Corey Knebel struck out the side of the 8th. Very impressive for the Brewer rookie. For a free post-game concert presented by Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines. VIP field and backstage passes are available now. Get your tickets at braves.com/concerts. We move to inning IX as the Brewers lead XI to 0 after 8 innings of play.
Well, that young man's got his rally cap on. I'd like for him to save it for one more half inning because it's going to be a heck of a rally.
You bet. Jim Johnson is on to pitch in his 21st game. Last time the Braves lost a game by 10 or more runs at home was May 15th, 2010 to the Diamondbacks. That was an 11-1 score. And the last time they lost at home by 11 runs or more was also against Arizona. How about that? It was a 12-0 game in May of 2009. Max Scherzer was a Diamondback then. He beat Kenshin Kawakami 12-0. Ripped off the glove of Callaspo on the ricochet. Simmons has it, and the throw to first in time to get Hector Gomez. The old routine 5-6-3 putout starts the 9th inning.
Perfect carom. Right over to Andrelton.
Maldonado takes outside. Crowd tonight a good one. 25,774 for fireworks. Sadly, not much for the home crowd to cheer about. Well, for better luck tomorrow afternoon. Again, the game will be telecast on Fox Sports 1 as Shelby Miller and Mike Fiers hook up. And Joe and I are back with you on Sunday for the homestand wrap-up. And our last home game until the end of the month of June. June 5th, we'll be back with the Pirates and the Padres coming to town for a week-long homestand.
Talked about those scouts behind the plate. Showed them earlier. They come and go as the season goes along. Trying to see teams, trying to see players. But I think it's interesting that we saw a flood of scouts come in today, perhaps in anticipation of Shelby Miller pitching tomorrow.
Two outs in the top of the 9th. And Gerardo Parra is the batter. in at 95 miles an hour. Ball one. That's outside. Ball two.
It's never a good sign when a lineup for an opponent is getting down near the bottom of the order and everybody has at least 5 plate appearances.
Simmons on a dead sprint, can't get it. It's over his head, and Parra has a hit.
And that will ensure that every spot in the order has 5 plate appearances.
2-out hit for Parra. And that'll bring up Sardinia. Scouts too might be here checking out this Milwaukee ball club, a team that, as we said, is expected to do some big time trading at the trade deadline. They have a lot of very attractive pieces. A couple of them aren't here. Scooter Gennett's in the minor leagues. Gene Segura, their shortstop's hurt. Jonathan Lucroy, their all-star catcher, is also hurt. Brewers decide to go that route, they could do the same thing that the Braves did and restock, I think, very, very quickly. But Doug Melvin has said he's not going to unload right away. He wants to give Craig Counsell and his staff a chance to turn things around for the Brewers. Tonight's his 18th game, and the Brewers are about to win the 9th of those 18.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, Craig's going to most likely go to 9-9 since he took over. It's an improvement over what they'd been doing, although at the time that Renicky was fired, the team was beginning to play better.
And that was the sad part for Ron. He said, look, if you'd done this a week ago, at the end of April, I probably would have been a little more understanding. But really, there maybe never is a real good time to fire a good person and a good man. And unfortunately, that was the fate of Ron Renicky. The fate of the Braves is 11-0 and 3 outs left at home. Presented by Bank of America. That's tomorrow with the Brewers in town. You get a discounted ticket, a Braves camo t-shirt when you buy your tickets at braves.com/camo. You'll also see some heavy artillery. Shelby Miller will be firing 50 caliber fastballs at the Brewer Ball Club. Boy, has he been good. A godsend. What a trade that's turned out to be for the Braves. No offense to Jason Hayward and Jordan Walden, but Shelby Miller and Tyrell Jenkins, 2 terrific pitchers. One already here and dominating, one on the way in the Braves minor leagues. We'll be watching at home or here at the ballpark with you.
Yeah, his fastball's just been electric. He's had a good cutter. Breaking ball has been hard and effective. See if the Braves can get on the board against Neil Cottons.
Watts have. Neal has had a very rough start to the season. Like Eric Stoltz, the home run ball has been a big issue. Cots pitched last night. He was part of that long bottom of the 7th. He scored 7 in that frame. The Brewers scored 7 in the 4th today. So big innings, and the series not to be evened up. There's out number 1. Cunningham is down on strikes. Follow the Braves all year long with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At bats up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or your tablet.
Braves are trailing 11-0, but the bottom line is they only have 3 hits, and one of those was by Trevor Cahill. So they didn't muster much offensively. They left 2 men on in the 1st, 3rd, and the 5th.
So only 3 Atlanta hits and 9 walks issued by the staff. That's a tough combination to overcome. And Ryan Braun too. He's had a big game. Cots delivers a strike. It's 3-1. Three hits, 2 runs, 4 RBIs for Ryan Braun. And Callasbo slaps one to left. And there's the sank it out. Again, Joe and I are off tomorrow. Brian Anderson and CJ Nitkowski will join you from Brewers and the Braves. 3:30 is game time here in Atlanta. Then at 7 Eastern, it's the return of baseball night in America. The Orioles take on the Marlins. Coverage starts at 3:30 Eastern on your home for baseball every Saturday. Fox and Fox Sports 1. Marlins are in the 9th, down 8-4 to Baltimore. I'm sure the subject of the Dan Jennings hire will be front and center tomorrow night. And he's about to lose its 8th consecutive game. Way outside to Simmons as the Braves are down to their last out.
I don't know Dan Jennings personally. I've met him, but I don't know him real well. He's in a tough place to want to go down on the field and manage when the players look at you and know that you've been in the front office and think, oh, okay, prove to us that you know what you're doing.
At short, that ball is caught on the fly, and that's going to end the ball game. Everton Simmons lines out to short. And the Milwaukee Brewers skunked the Braves tonight. 11-0 is the final score in this series.